Hello? No, that looks better, isn't it? Felix here, and welcome to this pre-market live stream, the first Trump back in power live stream 2025, and a lot's happened. And a lot of opportunities have just opened up, and a ton more are going to open up over the next couple of days. I want to walk you through which ones are the best, which ones are the ones to watch out for. I want to tell you what Wall Street's thinking and dreaming. And if you have any questions, of course, put them in the chat here. Michael asking about Trump's removal of the EV mandate. I'll walk you through that. I'll explain to you why that looks like a bad thing on the outset, but it's actually a glorious thing if you really think it through. So I'm going to walk you through lots of that. Monica is trying to make me blush, so well done, Monica. Let me share my screen with you there. And okay, here we go. We got a quote from Druckenmiller, however you want to pronounce that, depending on how Germanic you are. Old hedge fund guy, right? Used to work for Soros, the evil, but very, very good at managing money. One of the smartest money managers ever out there. And look what that he says. He says, we've just gone from arguably the most anti-business administration to the opposite. We do a lot of talking to CEOs and companies on the ground, and CEOs are somewhere between relieved and giddy. Giddy, like Elon is giddy right now. We're a believer in animal spirits. Animal spirits is a Wall Street phrase for everything is going to go to the moon, essentially. And he says even more than that, and we will look at individual stocks, Tesla and Palantir and everything in just a second here. But this is important. I want you to understand a little bit the bigger picture so you actually understand what the individual stocks look like. And I've already outlined a couple that we're going to definitely look like. And Kim, you're of course correct. Love the sound of ka-ching, which is probably a phrase that is offensive to some, isn't it? I'm sure it is. Ka-ching. And so here we go. Druckenmiller says, in my business, every change creates a change in stock prices. Having this kind of radical change from one organization to the other, blah, blah, blah. You've got deregulation, disruption. There'll be a lot of change. I wouldn't worry about the market, as in the market's going to do well. I would focus on individual stocks. And I completely agree with the man. I've been saying the very same thing for the last probably 18 months. We have been and continue to be in a market where certain sectors and certain stocks do insanely well. Like Palantir did what, 300% last year, right? The rest of the market, 25%, still very nice. But would you rather have 300% or 25%? Seriously, put it in the chat. Would you rather have 25%? So put 25% in the chat. Would you rather have 300% up? Put 300% up in the chat. And of course, I'm not promising you either returns before anybody calls the SEC, if that's still a thing, unless Trump's fired them all on DEI grounds. But, you know, which way do you want to be? Is 2025 the death of index funds? Okay, some of you, most of you want 300%. Some of you want 500%. 400, says Logan. Exactly. Why be greedy, right? 9,999%. Love you for that. Brilliant. So, therefore, you need to learn how to pick those stocks. How did Druckenmiller learn it? He had a guy who taught him. I can guarantee you that. He didn't wake up one morning and went, I am now the messiah of stock picking. That doesn't happen. I mean, you can try, but it doesn't happen. Maybe you have a really good direct line up there. If you do, drop me a message. But really the only way to do it is to find somebody to learn from. And if you would like, I will be that person for you. Because I was taught by bankers. I have a bunch of mentors. I probably spend $100,000 a month on mentors. Does that sound crazy? Probably sounds crazy, doesn't it? Maybe it's just a little bit less. Maybe it's 80, but something in that region. And it gives me tremendous insight and access to people. And if you want that access and you want me to share with you exactly what I do and how I do it, then join me on Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time. See the link over here? felixfriends.org/webinar that I'm pointing at. It's also down below in the description. And you can join us, and you can join quite a few other people who have already signed up for this, which I'm super excited about. When I last checked, it was 3,855 of you, which is cool, and totally blows our 1,000 people webinar size, so I'm going to have to do something about that. Don't worry, I'll fix it with Zoom to make sure you guys all have access to it. But I love that. I think we'll probably up it to 5,000 seats. So that gives us another 1,100, which will probably be gone by the end of this live stream. So sign up, felixfriends.org/webinar to make 2025 the bigliest year you could ever have thought of. So let me walk you through some of our favorite stocks, and I've also got a couple of real kind of bangers saved for you that I think could potentially make us a lot of money. But first, let me cheer you up with the green and the green and the green. Basically, look at this. The stock market is already going, we love the new administration. They're a little bit nutty, but they like business. Upgrade that subscription, says Trey. Yes, I will. I think I might actually have to message them. There's a limit on it, I think, if it goes over 3,000, but don't worry, we'll figure it out. That's a problem for me to sort out. So everything is up except for Apple. Why? China sales keep tanking, which isn't really surprising. I'm surprised they're not tanking everywhere in the world harder, to be honest with you. But yeah, China, I think, is going to hurt Apple and potentially also Tesla down the road. But let's talk about Tesla here for a moment. And Tesla is the second most popular stock in Trade Vision right now. SoFi Tesla, more popular than the S&P, pretty crazy stuff. And I tweeted it over the weekend. Futures on Tesla were up something like 6%. Pre-market, we are looking, all right. We're looking at it at 435. We closed at 426, so up $7. Not massive, but still somewhat positive. And just to give you a little bit of insight here on Trade Vision, you see the last 2 years, if you just bought and hodled Tesla, you'd be up 6%, right? If you followed a little trend indicator, you'd be up 57%. So it isn't just about stock picking, it's also about timing. Oh, I just made it complicated, didn't I? But it's way, way easier than you think. And I'll teach you the rules on Friday, so come and join me Friday morning, 10 a.m. New York time. Link is down below there. And obviously get yourself a free trial to Trade Vision if you want to get access to some of this. But to really understand Tesla, you need to understand what the Donald El Presidente just did. And by the way, I will make fun of this president just as I did of the last one. This is never a political statement. I just think they're put in place to entertain us. So what's happening here with Tesla? The EV, what's going on here with my, something weird going on with my mouse pad here. Everything is a bit cramped. Anyway, the EV mandate is basically gone. My writing doesn't usually look like that. It sort of squashes it. Is a goner. The EV tax credit is going to be a goner. And why would anybody think that was a good thing? It makes Teslas more expensive. Does that, guaranteed, right? So why is it a good thing? Because Tesla is the only company out there that builds EVs, that is able to build EVs at a profit without Uncle Sam giving them a subsidy. And that means that every single Tesla competitor is now losing money selling electric vehicles. So that creates a wonderful situation for Tesla, where they're the only ones who really have a good business. Everybody else has got a crummy business. They're either going to lose a lot more and try to scale up to get to a point where they can make money on the cars, or they just give up on EVs altogether. So Tesla has actually kneecapped the competition here, and it is one of the bonus paybacks in a way for Elon's support. Now, Trump did promise that before anyway, and I think what it's ultimately about is just Americans don't like to be told what to drive, right? I'm here in the Middle East, everyone's driving these great big GMC tanks, I call them. I mean, I've never seen cars that big. I need a ladder to climb into the bloody thing, but it's very comfortable. I can see the appeal. It's very comfortable, and you don't want to be told you can't have that anymore and you got to go drive an electric vehicle. I get it. Why? Like freedom, right? So I think that's ultimately what it's about, but it's a huge boost for Tesla. And it's a little bit reverse psychology, but if you understand that large companies actually do this kind of government regulation and encourage it to keep out the competition. So say if you're Microsoft, you want huge amounts of regulation out there that prevents small software companies from coming up, right? So yes, it costs you something, but if you have to hire another 100 lawyers to like deal with the paperwork, it doesn't matter, you've got plenty of money, but the small guy can't. And that's generally what happens when businesses get big. They try to manipulate governments to move regulation into a way that damages everybody else. So well done, Elon. You picked a winner. And I think it's going to be very, very good for Tesla. Potentially, it might slow down sales for a little while, but you need to have a little bit of a longer vision here. Tesla is the undoubted EV winner here from this. And Pat, if you honestly believe that Elon Nazi salute, that is the biggest load of bullshit that mainstream media came out with. The man was excited and pointed his arm up in the air. That is exactly what that was. And he said something like, from my heart, I thank you. I also found this picture here, which I posted on Twitter. There is a golden retriever doing a Hitler salute. So I think we should probably ban golden retrievers, right? No, it's honestly complete BS. Did you see this one? This is honestly the Telegraph, once one of the most respected newspapers in the United Kingdom, and they wrote Donald Trump's inauguration in 2017 and in 2025. They did not mention that the inauguration was moved indoors. Mainstream media, you deserve to go bankrupt. You deserve to go out of business. It is absolutely ridiculous. So here, but if you watch people like PBS and CNN, I honestly can't help you. Do you see these pictures? Right? That is exactly what we're talking about here. Do you think Obama is Hitler or Hillary or Kamala? It's bollocks. So don't spread that kind of nonsense. If you do it with a sense of humor, of course, do. But you know what I'm talking about, right? Winston's now a Nazi. Yeah, he's far right now. Winston's now far right. Terrible stuff, right? So what are we going to make money out of here? I think Tesla, I think the story is completely intact. The market is quite liking that Trump is floating 20-25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada. That's a little bit on the moderate side. We have no announcements of tariffs yet on Europe or China or anywhere else in the world. I think there will definitely be tariffs, but the fact that he hasn't done it in his first half day in office, some people are interpreting that as that he's going to backpedal on that. I'm not so sure about that, because he was also asked yesterday, you promised to end the war in Ukraine on day one, and then his answer was, Donald Trump's answer was, I've only had half a day in office, give me the other half. So let's see what happens today. There'll be a flurry more of announcements coming out today, and I'm sure that Doomberg and all these people will actually report on that. I still think we need to create a new news outlet, because Doomberg hates the man and hates Elon, and therefore every piece of information they put out is now political nonsense rather than just facts, which is really all we want. But yeah, so far the market is like, okay, maybe he's a little bit more of a moderate than we thought. I'm not so sure about that. And yeah, they're getting the External Revenue Service, which is basically a tax collecting agency for tariffs. A couple of sectors that I think are looking particularly juicy right now. One that we called a buy on Friday was XLV, healthcare sector. And if you look at this downtrend here, and this chart again is from Trade Vision, as you can see here on the bottom left. And so go get yourself a Trade Vision trial if you haven't already yet. There it is. Do, because it gives you insanely good data. And this is happening while the S&P went up, right? And what's it all about? Well, it's largely about concerns around how anti-pharma and so on Trump's going to be because of RFK, right? The Kennedy. Now, he did quit the World Health Organization yesterday, which I think is wonderful, because I think the World Health Organization is just a lobbying association for big pharma. Nothing to do with health, or to do with making you iller and sicker and buy more drugs forever after and die of the side effects. It's just my opinion. You may disagree with that, but I think we might have overdone it. I think, and most of Wall Street thinks, most of the hedge funds are jumping on the healthcare sector trade here. So I think that could be a really nice breakout XLV. Another one to watch out for, and I've been saying this again since September or so, if you've been following me, XLF, which is financials. And I'll give you some specific financials in a second as well. What about the Paris Climate Agreement? Yeah, he's also quitting that. Little nonsense. I'm an environmentalist. I am against pollution on the whole, but to cherry pick just carbon as one emission and ignore everything else makes no sense. And nuclear power is the obvious case for it, right? The whole, in my opinion, the whole climate change propaganda is paid for by the nuclear industry. Because they knew that the only logical outcome will be that we can only get energy from carbon-free sources, and that will be nuclear power. And guess what everybody's building? Nuclear power plants, right? And Bill Gates, a big investor in that, he was one of the big proponents of the whole climate change thing. It's just follow the money trail. Like, you know, if you're old enough, you remember the ozone layer, you remember the forests dying, you remember that the world was going to freeze. And, you know, there is always something, and someone's always paying for that. And somebody makes money, and it's somebody with a 10, 20, 30-year horizon or longer. Those are the guys who are actually running the world. And again, you can, of course, disagree with me on that. That's completely fine. We can still be friends. We don't need to have the same opinion on absolutely everything. But yeah, XLF here is shooting up very nicely from its January low. We've been riding that wave for a little while. We have a trade on, for example, FOA, which is a trade we've been running for a while. That's up something like 290% here. When did we get into that? September, right? I think that was the breakout right here. So that's been going up for a while. Schwab looking very good this morning as well. Schwab, the owners of Think or Swim, and of course the Schwab brokerage. Didn't Gates just buy 3 Mile Island? Yep. Well, Microsoft did, but he's obviously still a very significant shareholder there. So Charles Schwab here, massive jump pre-market. See that gap up from here to that blue dotted line? That's pre-market. Lots of money pouring into Charles Schwab. I've been sending them quite a bit of money, so maybe I'm to blame. So yeah, very, very good earnings. And that could then obviously take them back up to the sort of 83 mark up here. So that's definitely an interesting one. They were higher in 2021. They were in the 95, close to 100 mark up here. And again, it's been a stock with nice rallies and then lots of dumps. And over the last 2 years, it's actually down 10%, which is another reason why it might rally. And if you'd followed our little indicator, he'd be up 53%. Right? Not saying past performance is future performance and so on, but you get the idea. Check out Trade Vision. How much is Trade Vision? It's $19 a month, or if you pay for the year, it's $16. And we intentionally make it super cheap because we want lots of people to use it. It also includes trade tracking now, which again, everybody else who does that out there will charge you probably $30, maybe $50 just for the trade tracking. So our intention is to give you amazing quality information, level the playing field, and do that at a very, very affordable cost. And literally every dollar you give us gets fed into the developer team. And we literally throw food at them. When are you buying an island? Yeah, interesting. Thinking about that, honestly. You can make your $19 back in one trade, says Brian. Yeah, it's obviously not a lot, and that's intentional. Does Trade Vision come with an app? Shortly. We actually had a meeting on the app yesterday, so we're building an app, and we're just fine-tuning it to make sure it's as user-friendly as it can be. But do I have it on this phone? I think no, I have it on the other phone. But yeah, it's coming out. It's coming out pretty soon. It's like in the final stages. So we will have an iOS app. We'll have an Android app shortly. Trade Vision is great value, says Pedro. Appreciate that. And Sasha, yeah, app's coming shortly on that. Give us a little bit of time. For the moment, it's a browser version, but it'll come. It'll come all in good time. Now, is there anything else I wanted to tell you? Oh yes, there was Schwab. I definitely wanted to look at that. Shall we look at some of our favorite tech stocks as well? say like a Palantir here, and that's gapping up a little here this morning at 72.97, which is nice to see. And note the very, very beautiful V sort of bounce off here, right? What's the problem with it? Can anybody tell me the problem? Thanks, guys, there for all the kind comments on Trade Vision. And by the way, guys, you all have referral codes for Trade Vision, so you can share those, and you know, you get your money back as well. You see that up here? Refer a friend. If you share that button with your friends, then this one here, then you will actually get. You will get a free month basically for every person you refer. So spread the joy, spread the love, and get some free Trade Vision out of it on top. So yeah, this looks pretty good. All we want today is a bit more stronger volume, because the volume on this rebound here, that's the rebound, the volume has been pretty flat, right? So we want to see a little bit more of that, which would be useful. Ah, cool. I like that quote, my friend. Trade Vision is to Trading View is what Netflix was to blockbusters. I mean, I do love those guys, but yeah, I think it's just too complicated. I think it needs to be curated. I think for most of us, we just don't need 2,000 indicators. We just need the ones that work. So that's very much the intention here. Keep it as simple as possible. Volume. You can't hear me? You can't hear me? Really? Weird. It's just the same volume it was on my end, but let me know if there is some any issue here with audio. We need a Pelosi buy. Video coming out on that today as well, my friend. I'll break that down for you just a little bit later today. So let's look through some of our favorite stocks here. Mentioning fintechs earlier, I think financials would do very, very well this year. Financial regulation decreasing, and SoFi here nibbling now at its $17 resistance line. We're only 12 cents below that. Looks, it could be a little bit of a gap up here. Your mic fell. Volume is fine, audio is fine. I think it was just the hang on. It's just this little thingy bit here. It's sort of a what you call it, windshield thingy or something. I think we can live without that. Or the other kind of volume. Oh, you mean the trading volume? But you see, this is a much better chart, and I'll show you why on SoFi. You see the rally up here, and see your volume is actually increasing. That's important, right? So it's little things like that that make all the freaking difference in the world. And if you understand these little things, there are about 3 or 4 rules. If you really understand them with confidence and apply them, and then have an automation on that, which is what I'll teach you on Friday. If you join me at the live webinar, the live masterclass, then where is it? There it is. No, here it is. FelixFriends.org/webinar, 10 a.m. New York time. Join me and a couple of thousand other people there, and I'll teach it and I'll break it down for you so you can have the best year ever, and you can have the skills that the bastards on Wall Street usually only teach people who work there. and our whole thing here is to spread it to everybody, because I think everybody deserves the same financial freedom, and you can make your money work for you. Wow. Life really does change tremendously. So yeah, SoFi now jumped up to sort of around that $17 mark here, right? Few cents, give or take, doesn't make a huge difference. I think PayPal will also have a nice one. How's that looking? Pretty decent, 92.50. That's almost a high, right? Certainly, if we closed at that, it would be the highest close for years, I would say, since 2022. So that's starting to look really, really nice. We're picking up some real steam on that. PayPal was up 51%, our PayPal trade on Friday. Let's see where we open up on the day. Any other stocks you want me to look at here? Maybe Nvidia, the green giant. And looking pretty good, almost at 140, which is what the resistance is. So it would be nice to break out and close above the 140. If we can do that today, then good things coming. I think a little bit of relief maybe on the whole the whole tariff front there for Nvidia and the whole export restriction front, but I think we're calling that one a little bit too early. I think it's too early to know what's gonna go on there. MSTR, yeah, I actually opened the position on that on Friday as well. And that looks pretty good, doesn't it? That looks pretty good. We're trading at the very top end of Friday's trading range. Crypto's had a very volatile weekend, as you've probably seen. But Bitcoin's doing very well. So I would imagine MSTR is going to have a good time here. And you just have to think this through. You have a president that launches a meme coin. You think he's pro-crypto? I would think so. And most of the billionaires in his administration or around him have significant Bitcoin or crypto exposure. So I think things are looking pretty good for this space here. TradeVision has no Monday breakouts because the market was closed on Monday, my friend, and you know we can't make them up. So we can only have breakouts for days where there was actually trading. Healthcare ETF, yeah, I think obviously I can't give you financial advice and so on, but I think healthcare could have a nice little rebound there for sure. I think that's something to look at. Hood. Somebody says, yeah, that's another one in that space. I think also going to have very likely a very good year. This is, of course, just my humble opinion. Really what you want is you want to be able to read charts. Honestly, reading charts is like learning to read and write. It's probably actually more important. Why? Because it'll actually give you financial freedom if you understand how to read them. And if you want to learn how to read them, join me on Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. That's New York time. And I will show you exactly how that works as I'm clearly crashing TradeVision here. There we go. So where are we trading? At $50, which is again the resistance. So very nice. That's a very bullish run up here, right? One gap up. It looks like might have another one here today. Volume was pretty strong last week. So that looks pretty good. The party at Hood land keeps going. Still talking about that Elon salute. It's the Romans who did that salute. Roman emperors certainly made everybody do that salute, which is, I think, where the little angry Austrian chap got it from. But yeah, the Elon thing is such a load of bollocks. I mean, really, the mainstream media should be ashamed of itself for printing that sort of stuff. Is there a share you wish you had bought more of, Phil? Oh yes, of course, always. But I try not to go there because you can go there and you can say, oh, well, let's look back. If I'd bought this, then I'd be, whatever, I'd have another zero at the end of my portfolio or something. But is it helpful? No. So what you want to look at is when you make investments that you lost money at. Those you want to analyze. And that's one reason we track them in TradeVision and allow you to, so you can really see what went wrong there. And then you need to see, was that because of my rules? Is there a problem? There's a problem in my risk management. Was it something that I did? Was it something to, did I say this time it's different, or yes, I have my rules, but it'll improve, or let's just wait 5 minutes, it'll go back up, that kind of thing. In which case you know what the problem is and it'll help you be better next time. Or sometimes it's also just random. Like you can make all the right decisions and sometimes you still lose a little bit of money, but it'll be a little bit and it'll be pretty inconsequential. So very important to look at that. But I never go back and go, oh, I wish I would have bought Robinhood at $5 or something. Oh, what's the point of that? What I look for is what can I buy today that has a high probability of making me a lot of money in the next couple of days and weeks and months ahead. That's the only productive thing that I can do with my time, and therefore that's what I focus on. SoFi is flying. Okay, let's open the chart here. Let me share my screen with you. But yeah, in all seriousness, the only way you become a really good investor is rules, systems, and have someone look over your shoulder. Like I still do it. I still ping trade ideas over to my mentors all the time, and I go, what do you think about this one? And then they tell me. And it really, really helps. And a lot of the time they say, why didn't you sleep on it, Felix? Which is a very polite way of saying, are you mad? Have you lost your marbles? But look at this, SoFi running up, really, really nice. Let's see how Tesla is doing here. Tesla. So am I expecting the mother of all bull runs? Yes. Will it be very choppy? Yes, because Trump he enjoys the unpredictable, right? So he's going to make us squirm quite a bit. And therefore, you're going to want to do some things that reduce your risk. And you're going to want to do some things that allow you to stay in trades for a little bit longer. And by the way, we are working on speeding up trade vision here. We know that's been a bit of a thing since, I think, Friday. The guys are deeply involved in fixing that, in making this quicker. I think it might also be a little bit my connection, because this hotel connection is not the best in the world. So on Friday, don't worry, I'll have amazing Wi-Fi for our masterclass there with a few thousand people. I was trying to open VIX here, but I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed to load anything here, apparently, which is a little bit weird. Let me see if I can do something about that. So let's look at VIX here. VIX is coming down to 1575, which is lowish, but not super low. When we're in the sort of $13, $14, when we're below 15, I tend to get a bit bullish on this one. And this is a great little setup to understand, which I won't explain right now. I've done it before, but it's a little complex, and some people complain about it if I do. But there are these little nuggets of information that you get to once you get to a bit more than kind of fundamental investor. You get a little bit higher in terms of knowledge level, and then you can really do some really cool stuff. Tesla dumping a little bit here, 1.7% down. I think it's just people not understanding that the EV mandate going away is actually going to be a brilliant thing. People are buying Teslas not because Biden told them to. People are buying Teslas because they love Teslas. So this has not changed anything. It's going to be brilliant for Tesla. Everybody else is going to build less EVs. That's what's going to happen out there. Key, okay, I'm glad you got a nice reply there from Dennis, who handles our support now. He's also an avid trader and a brilliant human being. So I'm very happy that EV mandate will help the car market overall. Yeah, I agree with you. Just the less government interference you have, generally speaking, the better markets and companies do. So just remove Uncle Sam from your decision what car to buy, and I think you're going to run out and you're going to end up buying a Tesla. Well, if you want to buy some, gas guzzler, that's also up to you. It's entirely your prerogative. How's the VIX trade doing? It's going to be doing absolutely nothing right now, and that's the way these things work. You need a little bit of patience. That's what it's for. So it's it might pop up in a week, it might pop up in a month. We don't really have any, and I'm just going to see if I can log into that. We don't really have any deadline on that, and I think that's one of the most important things to learn. And I'll also talk about that on Friday if you join me for the live masterclass. That if you have real confidence in your setups, then you'll understand that it doesn't really matter what happens today or tomorrow. What actually happens is, what are we doing over a little bit of a longer period of time? That's really what it's ultimately all about. So you can have trades that are down a little bit for a while, but if you understand what you're doing, you've got good risk management, then in the long run, you typically make a lot of money. Like, I can't really open, I can't get into Think or Swim here right now. Too many windows open. In the long run, we make very, very nice money, which is, what we do here. And if you just look at some of the trades that we're tracking in here right now in Trade Vision, will that load? Apparently not. All right, let's look at that. Let's have a look at Doomberg then and see what those guys are writing. Updates on Trump's return to office. Day 2 with Judy's massive announcement. Okay, do we have the massive announcement yet, or are they just talking out of their backside again? He's expected to begin, blah, blah, blah. He may roll out more executive actions. I'm sure he will. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out there. Day 1 was a lot about immigration and doing some of the kind of really quick and easy things. I think day 2 will be a little bit more detailed about some of the stuff that's maybe slightly less sexy, but going to be very, very important for markets. So watch out on that. The market right now, it's looking pretty good. Tesla is getting hit. I think that's people misunderstanding that the EV mandate going away is a bad thing. No, it's a good thing. The less government we have in the car sector, the better it will be for Tesla. And Apple dropping because their China sales are collapsing, which isn't really a surprise. Miguel, you thought I was British. Sorry about that. German in disguise here. SoFi is beating the French resistance. Isn't Logan brilliant? Amazing. PayPal profit taking. Again, you want to ask that question before you get into the trade, my Englishman friend. Is it Sting? And so come and join me on Friday and learn what the actual rules are there for that, because you want to have an automation set up on that, basically. So you don't have to ever think about that. What do you think about Netflix earnings coming today? No, Netflix tends to go up or down 20% on earnings. So not something that I trade because it's insanely volatile. But who knows? I mean, I have Nasdaq ETF shares, so indirectly, obviously, I have Netflix exposure. But I would be cautious to do anything with that. You never know. It depends on how many people they signed up in India or not, or something like that, something fairly random. TM is a breakout. Well, you got to thank Nancy for that. I'll put out a video on that later today, already recorded, already in the can. I think an interesting one for sure. Definitely an interesting one to look at is TEM, which is a little AI. It's a little AI kind of pharma sort of health care play, which hasn't really done very much at all since it IPO'd. And now Nancy's bought some. So that's kind of an interesting story there. I'll walk through that. ATR indicator. What does ATR stand for, Mindieu? Let me know. MRNA breaking out. Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of the pharma stocks actually recovering unless RFK comes out with something really shocking. John, yeah, I'm having the same issue with Trade Vision. I'm sure the guys are already on it. We'll fix it. We'll fix the speed issue. I don't know what it is, but we'll get it fixed in the next couple of hours. Mark, if I discovered options 15 years ago, I would have gone with it. What's the difference to day trading? It's a lot more fun. It's a lot less work. That's the way I would summarize that. I'm probably the world's most lazy trader. I do like 10 minutes a day or something like that. And that's really, there's really no real benefit in doing much more than that. So that's kind of the power of options. I think we can do very, very little, and we can have really, really nice risk limitations and risk management, and we can potentially make really, really nice returns. It's a little bit more complex than stocks. It is, I'll grant you that. So I would always start with stocks. I'd start with understanding charts and stop losses and breakouts and all that good stuff. And I'll teach you all of that on Friday if you join me, felixfriends.org/webinar. But if you enjoy that and you want to do a little bit more, then I think options is a marvelous world to sort of dive into. Trade Vision server is cooked, something like that. Somebody left the stove on. And my friend there on the smart money thing and Trade Vision, yeah, we're working also on how to make that more user friendly. I totally get that. That's not that easy to use right now for everybody, and I want to put that into a form that is like really easy to interpret for ordinary mortals. So that's also coming up. We're working on that. Apples, grocery stores, average true range. Oh, you mean sort of a volume thingy-majiggy? Yeah. Okay. I'll take that on board. We'll have a look at the easiest way. I want to be careful with. We want to add a lot more indicators, but we also want to make sure that they are really, really useful. And I think a lot of people just use too many indicators that don't really add any real value. But I know there's some value in ATR. So, okay, let me have a look at that. Appreciate that. Like the stream, says Fox. Thank you very much. Subscribe. Thank you very much for that as well, Fox. I appreciate you. The most exciting week ahead is, of course, Trump week. We will find out a lot more what he's going to do today in terms of businesses and taxes and regulation. Elon's getting to work. Elon's got an office in the White House with 20 staff for Doge. Vivek quit, allegedly to run for governor in Ohio. Who knows? So it's a one-man show, which probably means it's going to work even better. I think Elon probably works best on his own. And a lot of exciting stuff coming up. A lot of changes coming up. And as Stanley Druckenmiller says, every change will mean a change in the stock market. And we can make a lot of money out of that. I'm very, very excited about 2025. I think it's pretty much the perfect setup. Literally, the economy is strong. The labor market's doing pretty well. You've got the most business-friendly government ever, pretty much in the White House, with a full majority. You've got Elon cutting spending, which will help with bonds and interest rates. And it's just kind of, it looks almost too good to be true. So we're going to grab the opportunity by the horns. We're going to make buckets load of money out of it, boatloads of money out of it even, and great big oil tanker amounts of money out of it. And if you want to join me on that and how we do it and actually learn the rules, because that's the prerequisite to being successful, is learning the rules, having confidence, knowing what you do when XYZ happens in the market, join me on Friday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time, and I will teach you. It's completely a free webinar, seminar, masterclass, whatever you wish to call it. It will be about an hour and a half, and you get to ask me lots of questions. We'll dive deep. We're going to have a lot of fun. About 3,000 or so of you have already signed up, which is insanely cool. And I'll figure out how to get you all in the room, because we're now at 3,952. Let me show you. Isn't that something? Almost 4,000 people. I was going to upgrade the room to 5,000 people with Zoom. So I suspect we'll be running out of seats by the end of today. So make sure you sign up. Make sure you're early. Make sure you're on time for that thing. And I look forward to seeing you live tomorrow, same time, same place. I'll put out a video later on today on Nancy Pelosi's, the greatest trader who ever lived. Insider information helps. Some really interesting buys there from her, especially one. I'll break down whether that's a good idea or not.